With the incoming launch of a new raid in season, people are scrambling to make sure they are prepared by farming and hoarding bounties and materials. But what if I told you that you don't have to? XP and powerful items have numerous fast and easy sources, and depending on what type of player you are, you might not need to worry at all. I did the research and math so you don't have to. Today, let's explain XP, power, leveling, and the best practices for grinding. If you just want to get to the strategies and proof, then skip ahead to the timestamp on screen. Now, a Guardian's power level allows us to access certain activities, maximize our damage dealt, and minimize damage received. For attempting the Day 1 raid race, the contest mode modifier is active, capping your Guardian's effective power to at least 20 under. That means, being beyond a set maximum effectiveness level, you'll see no benefit. If we look historically, reprised raids are 20 under the pinnacle cap. Following this trend, Season 22's reprised raid would then have a maximum effectiveness cap of 1790. But that doesn't mean you have to hit that. Being 5 levels under that would still be doable, difficulty akin to Grandmaster Nightfalls. If we break it down further, that would be a 1785 gear score and a plus 5 artifact to reach 1790. As you'll see in a minute, a plus 5 artifact is very easy to achieve, only requiring rank 10 on the season pass. Getting 1785 gear, you have a few options. If you own Lightfall, completing the legendary campaign will reward you with a full set of 1770 gear. Then just grind Powerfuls and Pinnacles and you should be set, unless you get horrendous RNG. For non-Lightfall owners, you'll just have to play the game to reach the soft cap and then grind Powerfuls. However, if history repeats itself, Bungie could add a free set of powerful gear and armor, like they did with the gift of the Thunder Gods chest for the release of the reprised King's Fall raid. Check the description and comments for more up-to-date information. On to XP. A lot of hardcore players and creators will say you have to hoard bounties and grind to be able to fully unlock your artifact and participate in the Day 1 raid. That's not true. Bounty hoarding will help, especially depending on how much you can play, but it isn't at all necessary. Let's talk first about what XP impacts, their formulas, and key thresholds. First up, Artifact Power Bonus. This allows your overall power level to surpass your gear score. The XP required for each artifact bonus is not linear but quadratic, meaning the XP for each subsequent bonus greatly increases. On screen is a simplified formula for what rank you need to be for whichever power bonus you desire. 0.55p squared minus 1.1p plus 1.55, where p stands for your intended bonus. So, if you want to know the season rank for a plus 8 power bonus, that would be 0.55 times 8 squared minus 1.1 times 8 plus 1.55, or season rank 27.95. Now, let's pick out key power thresholds to use later, plus 5, 7, 10, 15, and 20. The lower values are what are quickly and easily obtainable for the Day 1 raid, the higher bonuses for long-term goals for GMs and triumphs. The more impactful use of XP for the raid is for unlocking seasonal artifact perks. These enhance builds by making armor mods cheaper or bring uniquely powerful perks to spice up the meta. These can be impactful, like Season 20's Bricks from Beyond perk or Season 21's Shock and Awe, but they aren't make or break for success in a Day 1 raid. Plus, Bungie is trying to never repeat the sheer brokenness of past artifact mods like Breach and Clear or Classy Restoration. In spite of this, the philosophy is still to quickly unlock all 12 perks. Now, the XP required to achieve such isn't as bad as the grind for artifact power, following much more of a linear trend, but it's still the high rank of 41. A tall ask to do in 2 weeks for the average player. Or so it would seem. See, you don't need all perks to gain powerful bonuses. There are certain thresholds based on what you want and your given time. 3 unlocks if you just want champion mods, 5 for cheaper armor mods from column 2, 8 to unlock 1 perk from column 4, and 11 to gain access to the coveted 5th column of perks. We'll focus on these thresholds when we optimize our farming strategy later. Lastly, you have the Season Pass. In terms of a Day 1 raid, none of it matters. The small increases to XP multipliers aren't meaningful, and the beneficial endgame materials are at the higher end of the pass. You might hear people hype up the importance of deep sight harmonizers to be able to craft a weapon super quickly, but in my opinion, that is way too overblown. Don't worry about them. Alright, we know the uses for XP, now let's discuss XP multipliers and sources, before we combine everything. XP multipliers, which further increases whatever XP you earn, have 3 main categories. First are ghost mods. These are accessible to everyone and grant a 2 to 12% XP bonus based on the mod. When leveling, always equip the 12% Blinding Light mod. Second is the Well Rested buff. At the start of each week, you'll get a 2 times multiplier for your first 5 season ranks. Basically, your first 250,000 XP earned is doubled. The last modifier comes from owning the current season's pass. At base, you get an always active 20% increase to XP. At subsequent ranks, you'll accumulate small 2% solo and fire team bonuses, maxing out at 32% for solo or 40% in a team. So, for optimal leveling, people always say to turn bounties in and play in a fire team. And that's true when you're thinking about maximizing all XP. However, if you look closely and keep in mind our goals, those 2% bonuses only add up to about an additional 10%. It is more XP, but don't worry about it. Additionally, these multipliers are multiplicative, so you can max out the bonuses to a whopping 213%. But that's limited to only your first 5 weekly ranks if you have a maxed out pass. So, going forward, we're going to simplify XP modifiers. Keep the well-rested buff separate, and then use the base season pass buff of 20% with the ghost mod of 12%. For XP sources, technically anything you do, getting kills, completing activities, earn you XP, but those are hard to quantify. So we'll talk about static sources, bounties, and challenges. Bounties have 3 main types or tiers, each a specific amount of XP. The lowest, repeatable bounties reward 4,000, dailies are worth 6,000, and then the highest, weekly bounties are worth 12,000. Focusing on grinding or hoarding for the next season, prioritize weekly and daily bounties, as you have limited quest space and they offer more XP for your time. On the other hand, I highly recommend looking at seasonal challenges, lots of XP in a short amount of time. Challenges can vary in amounts, from 50,000 to 200,000 XP, difficulty, and who can complete them, with a healthy mix of free-to-play challenges and some that require the season pass or expansion. Using Season of the Deep's challenges as a reference, the total base XP is an eye-watering 5.6 million, meaning a minimum of season rank 57, before you increase it with XP multipliers. And this doesn't factor in the XP you'd earn from activities when trying to complete those challenges or bounties you can also accomplish. For our purposes of optimizing for the day 1 raid, we'll use the first 2 weeks of challenges, which average to 500,000 XP each week. Season owners also look at seasonal bonuses, as if the vendor upgrade system remains the same, each are worth 25,000. Now let's condense our previous thresholds into 4 readiness goals: basic, average, moderate, and optimized. Over 2 weeks, the low end is to hit rank 4, then the high end is rank 32. Or a range of 300,000 to 3 million XP. Seasonal challenges alone, so no XP modifiers, get you 1 million XP, easily accomplishing goal 1. If you then factor in a simplified combination of the well-rested XP buff, base season pass bonus, and blinding light ghost mod, that total XP balloons to nearly 1.7 million, which is rank 17, crushing goal 2. And I'd be content with that. Straightforward path of following seasonal challenges, and you get most of the artifact. But I know you want more, so let's factor in bounties. Now, besides being of different XP values, some are more tedious to grind. In my opinion, a lot of the expansion bounties, like those from Shadowkeep and Beyond Light, aren't quick or easy to complete. For ease of use, consider the weekly and daily bounties from free-to-play sources: Cosmodrome, Dreaming City, Strikes, Nessus, and the EDZ. For completing a single day's worth of these bounties, that's 174,000 base XP. Do that on all 3 characters, that's over 500,000. Factor in the season pass and ghost XP multipliers across 2 weeks, and that's 1.4 million XP, bringing our grand total to 3.075 million XP, less than 1 rank from our 4th goal. And this is just the static XP sources, and I simplified math for the well-rested buff. Adjusting for that and XP from activities, and you're well over our 4th goal, getting access to the final column of the artifact. If you also picked up repeatable bounties while doing these dailies, or went and grabbed the paid expansion ones, that's another 1 to 2 million XP, getting you to the 40s ranks and a fully unlocked artifact. Earning XP isn't hard or time consuming, and you don't have to mindlessly or needlessly grind bounties. Focus on the big stuff, set aside a couple hours to do those listed bounties, and just pick up bounties for what you want to play. Diving into the new seasonal activity, pick up that vendor's bounties. Testing the new PvP sandbox, go visit Shacks. And then, if you just want to try out the day 1 raid experience, you don't need to worry about any of this. As long as you're 1790 and have a decent variety of weapons, armor, and builds, you'll do just fine. As for my free-to-play players, I haven't forgotten about you. The reprised raid is free, as well as parts of the season pass, so you too should get helpful info. Expect to earn up to 2.1 million XP from 2 weeks of seasonal challenges and doing a day's inventory's worth of bounties across both resets and 3 characters. That practically gets you to our moderate goal of 10 artifact perks, or well above our average goal for single character players. To reach the final goal, yeah, you'll have to play a lot and grind some bounties. It's 100 to 200 daily bounties depending on how many characters you're willing to play on. But it is achievable. Chipping away each day by doing 20 dailies and a few repeatables, and you'll get enough XP by the launch of the raid. That being said, this is a game about having fun and doing what you like. In my opinion, you're already well prepared for the raid by just focusing on those seasonal challenges and a few bounties. In summary, you don't need artifact perks to be successful in the day 1 raid. As long as you're 1790, you're golden. For those that want artifact perks to maximize your builds, focus on seasonal challenges, bounties for the activities you are doing for fun, the easy free-to-play weekly and daily bounties across both weeks, and make sure you have your Blinding Light Ghost mod on at all times. If you see this before the new season and have some time, hoarding some bounties, like the ones listed, do help but aren't necessary. If you're going to be playing the game a lot when the new content drops, why burn yourself out now? It all depends, do you have time now or later? And to prove a point, I'll follow this recommendation, document it on my social media, and come back with a follow-up video. So, if you found all this information useful, then leave a like. To keep tabs on my leveling experience and see future guides in Destiny, then click subscribe. As always, I am your Commander Pika. Be kind, have fun, and I'll see you on the battlefield.